and how-tos, plus the USDA offline food preservation website, and much, much more, including a surprise bonus we just can't tell you about here. With plenty of room left over to store your most important documents. Imagine if a megavirus or computer failure took out your bank, or all the banks for that matter. Are your banking records safe in your hands? So when they get things fixed and repaired, you can say, hey, look, this is what I had. You have it. I want it back. Is your personal data safe? Family records, addresses, phone numbers? Well, squeeze on over to freedomslips.com. Yes, that's www.freedomslips.com. Click the banner on the homepage for the EMP-proof bullet drive to get the full scoop of everything that we offer. So, folks, keep your data safe for your peace of mind. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Most guys freeze. That's your cerebral cortex looking for an answer it doesn't have.
See? Even your brain knows you're screwed.
Your body's filling with adrenaline right now, whether you know it or not. Your heart's beating fast. It's getting a little harder to breathe. The neurobiological system is telling it to run, but your knees are too weak to move.
Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. We are all telling ourselves a story.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. 100% listener-supported radio. Reporting the danger. Unafraid. Right here, where information never sleeps. Revolution Radio!
Be me, Wild Bill Samsel, your host of the Samsel Report. Join me for Wild Bill's Headline Roundup every Saturday night right here on Revolution Radio.
Thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. If you plan to call in and speak with one of our hosts, please turn down your radio and separate yourself from any background noise and wait for the area code to be called on before you speak. And don't forget, Revolution Radio freedomslips.com is listener supported. So stop by the homepage, freedomslips.com, visit the site support area to help support the host you're listening to's airtime. Thank you. Revolution Radio freedomslips.com, where the truth never sleeps.
What are we supposed to do?
I'm going to fight, because I'm used to it. The rest of you are going to have a tougher choice. And look, I don't want to sell it to you. It's too ugly for that. And it's ugly, and it's hard. But when you're fighting in your own backyard, you're fighting for your family. It all hurts a little less, and it makes a little more sense. But for us, this is our home. Even the tiniest flea can drive your big dog crazy. So the first thing we have to do is learn how to work together. Become a unit. And that's going to take some time. So we're going to have to evolve. Rewire our reflexes. Learn new skills and adapt old ones. So we'll find people we can trust. Friends with their ears to the ground who can help us get the things we need to fight back. Watch what they do. Study their tactics, their routines. The more we know, the easier it will be to hurt them.
up to all of us to fight for.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, where the fight begins and information never sleeps.
Narco-syndicalist commune. We take it in turns to act as a sort of executive officer for the week. Yes. But all the decisions of that officer have to be ratified at a special bi-weekly meeting. Yes, I see. By a civil majority in the case of purely internal affairs. Be quiet. But by a 2/3 majority in the case of more major... I order you to be quiet. Look, you stupid bastard, you've got no arms left. Yes, I have. Look! Just a flesh wound.
I don't believe I've seen such a display of courage, skill, nerve, grace, stupidity.
I'll do you for that. Oh, what? Come here. What are you going to do, bleed on me? I'm invincible. You're a loony. The Black Knight always triumphs.
Welcome all, and it is that time for Roundtable Live here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. Be rolling on till 4 a.m. in the morning Eastern Time. New ideas, different hosts every night, different subjects every night. You never know what's going to happen right here at the Roundtable Live. King Arthur has nothing on us. We're going round and round.
West Coast of Orange County, California. From the Pacific perspective to the Atlantic perspective. From liberal craziness to conservative idealism. From Christianity to atheism belief systems. Welcome to the TheGrayZone Roundtable with R3ctify and Wingman at Revolution Radio. freedomslips.com.
This is R3ctify, and you are listening to The Gray Zone at Revolution Radio. Happy Tuesday morning, late night. You are joined, myself and my wingman.
What up?
Tonight, it is an open roundtable, as always. You're invited to call in 347-688-2902. That's 347-688-2902. Or you can Skype us at Freedom Screen, like a screen door. Freedom Screen, all one word. Get in here. We pass the mic around. We talk about whatever's on your mind, whatever's bothering you, whatever's lighting your little tushy up right now at this moment. The Wingman, how you doing today, sir?
I woke up with a banging headache for some reason, and I hadn't been drinking the night before. Watched the Oscars last night, which was fun.
Did you?
I did. I was a bit disappointed with some of the decisions, as you know, people often are. But otherwise, it was pretty humdrum, really, as it goes. I can't stand Ellen. What's her name? Ellen DeGenerate.
Degenerate, yeah.
Yeah, Ellen DeGenerate. Actually, I don't like her at all. I think she's quite demonic in actual fact, but that's just a personal thing, maybe.
I think she has constant chapped lips, I'll tell you that much.
She did fumble. She wasn't a great presenter. She kept, stuttering and wasn't very consistent. And I don't know. But I think I'm quite glad 12 Years a Slave won Best Picture. I think it was The Wolf of Wall Street was the other one I've seen that I thought would have should have got a few more. I think cinematography-wise, I think that one should have won it.
Of course not, though. It has too much truth.
Yeah.
I also wanted to, I wanted to also mention that we have been joined by two callers right off the bat. We have Len with us and Australian Paul. What's up, brothers? Yo.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit. Turn it up.
All right, how's this?
Now you're better. There you go.
All right, yeah. Len, but really I go by Owlb4UFO in chat. But
Owlb4UFO, there we go.
Yeah.
And then Ozzy Paul, what's up, man? I can't hear you. Check 1, check 2. All right, Ozzy Paul's there, but he is muted. Go ahead, Wingman. I'm sorry about that. Oscars, man.
Yeah, so the Oscars, there was this, the other one I can't stand is Matthew, McSomething or other, McChicken, whatever his name is.
Or some shite.
Yeah, Matthew McChicken, again, I can't stand him. It's just I get a really bad vibe from him, but he won Best Actor. And I think I reckon that should have gone easily to DiCaprio for his role in Wolf, as the Wolf kind of thing, in Wall Street. So I was a bit disappointed about that. But I was quite pleased with they awarded Best Actress to the young lady, the coloured lady in 12 Years a Slave, who, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but there's one scene she does in particular where she's gone to town to get some soap. She gets back and she's pretty seriously scolded with some beatings as a result of leaving the plantation. And she does a scene in that which is, makes your heart wrench kind of thing, which is a very powerful scene. And I think she probably got it on that scene alone, I would imagine, but that was quite pleasing. And she gave a wonderful message about, slave history and the person who wrote Solomon, I think was the name of the...
Aren't we all still slaves?
Yeah. But she gave a wonderful message about the person who wrote, because it was based on a true story, and you might say the story itself had to be protected and hidden and kind of carried forward, and it has done. And it was surprisingly, I think the film was backed by Brad Pitt personally, because he got a thank you at the end for it and was told it wouldn't have been possible to make were it not for his help. So that was quite interesting as well. But, it wasn't as glamorous as normal. I think they had Cirque du Soleil on last year, and that was quite
Red
impressive.
carpet was a little pinkish.
Yeah, and it didn't help with Ellen DeGeneres, she bought some pizza or something and started handing out pizza. I thought, this is the Oscars. It's called glam, it doesn't get much more glamorous than the
Wasn't
Oscars.
That silly?
And you're handing out pizza. I don't think people were quite impressed with that, so I don't think she should be on again as a host, to be honest. Which is good.
Honestly, we've seen that on the thingo, and if you hadn't heard that's exactly what Ellen DeGeneres was handing out. Man, my godly, pizza. That's unbelievable.
Seems you got a sheath in your house there, Paul.
I've got my background, the dudes in the background going mad for me, so that's okay. Unfortunately, a couple of paddocks got burnt out, right, around my family's properties and this and that, and we had to relocate. I've got him for a month or two, and unfortunately, he's growing on me, and I let him in the kitchen just to go hello, but not through the whole house because he bloody stinks like a sheep. But other than that, he's a fire victim, so...
Roasted sheep, is he?
Not quite. No, that's about 2 or 3 years later. Yeah, he's merino and microfine wool. So, it's up to me.
So how you guys frying down there? You guys roasting still or what?
Well, today's really, really warm. It's 32 degrees, which is 80-something Fahrenheit.
Yeah, about 90, yeah.
Yeah, almost 90. High 80s, low 90s. Yeah, pretty bloody hot. And this is also autumn.
Supposedly.
Well, fall for the Americans and the Canadians. But other than that, yes, autumn.
How about you over in the UK there, Wingman? How's the weather? Is it shifting like it is here? Like 20 degrees difference in a day or two?
Yeah, I don't talk about the weather. That's what old people do. Sorry. I refuse to talk about the weather. I won't do that till I'm over 50.
Oh, come on, that's unfair. I'm doing it when I'm 30.
When I'm over 50, I'll start talking about the weather. For now, I'll just deal with it. Unless there's a hurricane, or a tornado, or a typhoon, or a tsunami, in which case I'll probably mention it in passing.
Or bushfires.
We don't get bushfires this end.
And we've been joined by Heather Holman. What's up, Heather?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Welcome to the GrayZone.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
How's Arizona weather? See, Wingman doesn't want to tell us about the UK, so.
Why not?
No, so I talk about the UK, just not the weather.
Oh, not the weather.
He's not.
Well, Heather is not going to talk about the weather either.
Oh, my.
That's all right. What would you like
Good
to
on
bring
you,
up?
Heather.
www.weather.com and believe what you see, right?
Yeah, it's always hot in Arizona.
Cue the sheep again.
Bloody hell.
What are you guys talking about?
Well, I'm just reading a story that Heather posted in chat.
Oh, yeah?
33 people killed
Oh, that was
by one individual for the night.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
130 injured. I mean, couldn't anyone have stopped this? That's crazy.
Yeah, this was ridiculous. By about the teenage group. Oh my God, he's escaped. Ridiculous about the teenage group, and even my sheep said they're ridiculous. How dare they get away with? There were only 12 little monsters running through, and they killed at least 3 between themselves, and then stabbed lots and lots more.
Generations of parents working their butts to the bone, so they don't have the time
and not
to teach
looking
their
after the kids.
kung fu anymore. So all these kids are out there defenseless.
How ridiculous are we going into the age when money is more important than looking after kids?
Right.
I'm spewing I haven't got a baby goat.
I think that was a China false flag event.
Yeah, no, I understand. But, well, also, they're Muslim over in that area, but Hindu. And the funny part about that is, they have been getting on with each other for a millennia, you know? All of that side of the world have always got along with mates. This is where all our spices and this come from. All that trade route. This is ridiculous. How money's mucking up everything instead of, a bonded handshake to this world. It's all money, 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 money. It's ridiculous.
I've always wondered, but when someone's life's taken prematurely, I always think about all the generations and people that would have followed them from the birth of their children to their children's children, and this whole tree that is suddenly severed as a result of something like what's happening in China today.
A branch of the tree.
Well, 33 branches of trees here. And, I always wondered, like, what if you let history play out and let those 33 people live? Who would have they contributed to the creation of in this world, and what would they have done, and what would have changed? And, it's kind of strange when you think of it like that. But it's, when someone's life's cut short, like, what would have happened had they been allowed to live?
They could have freed the world.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, there's test tube babies, There's rumors that Obama came out of a test tube from day one, so.
No, I think he came out of hell.
That could be a test tube called hell. 1134. Test tube 1134. But, yeah, so yeah, if we are pre-designed and we're watched from day one, when do they realize that there's a flaw in the design? That's what I wonder.
It's a shame because, as far as I'm concerned, the 3D experience is quite a unique one. And because it's very tangible, I think is the best word, of the realities. And, I think there are many out there and you can move through them, and that some are more fluid, like you might experience on a hallucinogen, you might say. But I think of all the realities, this one is a very knock-on-wood reality. I think that's quite a unique sensory perspective. So to some extent, I do feel we're missing out, really, on not having a, far more utopian kind of society, I think is doable. And I think it's, just a case of getting our courage to do the right things, getting our courage, finding our courage again, and resisting the resistance to resist us, if you like, And interesting, I was mentioning the Oscars earlier. I think they took a leaf out of Hawke's book, because, the sound clips, all the movie clips that Hawke does to put a message together, well, they did exactly the same on the Oscars yesterday, and it was quite inspiring. The message was very inspiring. It was quite emotional.
It was like one of Hawke's bumper ads.
That's right. I think someone must have been listening, because they did pretty much the same thing on screen. Piecing all these clips together.
I had Geico insurance company, government employee insurance company. I had them rip off my entire hump day concept from my last show, and they did an entire commercial on that stuff. That's why I got the woo-woo.
Right. But, it was interesting, because the message that Hollywood are trying to get across was empowering. Just like, the messages that Hawke tries to get across in his clips. And, it was a reminder that, yes, we are humans, but we're capable of so much more. And I think it was a little kind of hint from their side of things to try and get things moving a little bit, maybe. And I was quite impressed.
What gets me moving is the Douglas Dietrich commercial that Tones made.
Remind me, how does it go?
It goes, bam, check it out, at the beginning.
Bam, check it out.
He goes Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Douglas Dietrich.
Yeah.
He gets it wrong,
the firing line.
That's the master of mass destruction instead of
the
instruction.
human weapon of mass instruction.
He says destruction, though, so he messed up there. Yeah. Oh, well, Tones, we love you.
Destruction, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That's nice. Do you know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see us I'd like to see us just rebuild everything. I'd like to see cities torn down, because I think they're ugly places. I'd like to see, I really would. I'd like to, relocate everyone, rebuild everywhere, but rebuild a city that is kind of like pretty and beautiful, and maybe has a fractal pattern about it, or something like that, and is much more purposeful, is much more self-sufficient, is more automated for certain things like refuse and recycling and things like that. But for the most part, I don't think cities are very nice places. I think they're geared towards consumerism.
Well,
and
if you're in a city, get off your butt and walk like a couple feet around the corner and go and get what you need, your beer and your cigarettes and all that. I mean, that's only the convenience right there. Everything else is chaotic, especially when there is chaos that ensues.
Only inconvenience.
And I tell you what, you could automate quite easily is the, like how you get those tubes that suck up the cash in supermarkets. You could have a distribution system like that, where instead of going shopping, no, I like going shopping, but maybe not food. But you could do maybe refuse collection on a conveyor belt thing, on a tube thing, or there's lots of innovation.
You like to shop at night like I do to avoid
I love
most of the sheep. Hey, cue the sheep again.
I love shopping at night and dodging the packers. Going around the trolleys and, for the packing trolleys. And, yeah, it's just nice. You've got your stereo on, no one about. I don't like people.
I like going to shopping at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right. I don't like being around a lot of people either. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, but the reason being, you go to the markets. And if you go to the markets and you can get the best of the very best of what you get of the 5-star chefs ordering, and you can beat them to it.
So, last time I went to a mall, you could call it a mall, I went to see a friend who's having a kid, and so I went up to, to say hi and celebrate kind of thing. But, I was walking around this mall, and I'm very sensitive to energies, you might say, and I didn't like it much. And I'm not just talking about the energies, it was a weird kind of I don't know, it was like the mall, because of the people that had been through it or something, was really thick, like a syrupy thick of energy of some sort. But it's hard to explain this, but as I was walking through it, it was like my path was very narrow. It was like I kept having to not impulsively, but unintentionally connect. No, it was hard. It's very hard to explain. I had to unintentionally connect to certain individuals that were in front of me energetically, and I could feel my energy stream actually connecting with the individuals in front of me. I didn't want to do that, but because of this environment, for some reason, I had to connect to them as though
sucking onto you. Yeah, like you're a Wi-Fi router.
Yeah, kind of thing. If you imagine like this little kind of individual, myself, with all these little energy things, and I had to connect like this Wi-Fi kind of style, but it wasn't intentional, and I didn't want to do it, but it was like it was being forced upon me to connect with the people around me energetically when I didn't want to connect with those people energetically. But it was like my energy flow. What
readings did you get from these people?
My energy flow was literally forced like a laser onto an individual, and then bam onto the next individual, then bam onto the next individual, as though that were the only way to get through this maze or something. It was very strange, and I haven't felt it in many places, but in this particular place, it was uncomfortable, and I started to get kind of paranoid, really, as a result of it. And I even noticed it going on with my mate, and that was making me feel uncomfortable. And I was like, why am I energetically being forced to attach to my mate at the moment as we're walking through it, and then the person he was with, and it was just like this bouncing around of my energy line, if you want to call it that, a focal line of energy, and it was just really weird. I don't know if anyone else has experienced something similar, but it was just really uncomfortable.
Energy, it's energy suckers. I mean, a lot of people out there don't even know they're energy vampires. They don't even know it, but they're out there, and they're putting out a vibe that they're not disciplined with, and they will suck off people that are disciplined with that energy. And yeah, you'll feel it. The ones that are disciplined, you'll see it and you'll feel it.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, I wasn't looking out for anything as I was shopping around that place, and I noticed this. This really grabbed my attention. I was like, this is normal.
What kind of vibes did you get from these people?
It was weird. It was like it was like they were predicting what I was doing, and that's why I was getting paranoid.
See, they might not have even been human, man.
I know. Yeah, it might be, because when I purposely, so I'd be walking along a path, and I'd be, right, I'm going to turn right now. When I purposely didn't walk where you'd expect, it's hard to explain. When I purposely took a different direction to my intuitive kind of thing, I could see the kind of disruption around me, as though, we didn't go in that direction. This is why I was getting paranoid. This is what I mean. And so there was this, I don't know.
You ever seen that video? It was a Russian video. It was a concert with a bunch of elitists, all dressed up and fancy in the audience, and the power gets shut off, and someone's recording. And as soon as the power gets shut off, like 3 of these people in the audience's eyes light up bright white. Yeah, I mean, you can look this up. Russian concert reptilian. I'm sure that'll bring it to you. But yeah, that was very interesting. I've seen that recently.
Yeah, so all in all, the whole experience. I mean, I don't often get paranoid, and I was getting paranoid in this place. It was as though something was, it was like it's walking into a Stephen King novel where they're all in on it, So,
what kind of event was this again?
Well, it's the town I used to live in, but I hadn't, I moved to the South Coast. This is like Middle England. So I moved away from there, but I hadn't noticed how bad what this walking around this mall actually was.
Oh, it was just the entire town.
Yeah, it's like the, if you're walking along the beach, your energy's free to, do whatever. But in this place, it was like it was, compressed, compressed, so that it had nowhere else to go but to channel into someone else. It was Maybe it was a really dark place. I don't know. Maybe that's what it was.
Well, I lived in Bullhead City, Arizona for a while. It's right next to Laughlin, Nevada, and same feeling. I get exactly what you're saying.
It's like
you're internalized.
Yeah, and so where your energy can normally just flow wherever it wants to go, like walking along the beach, there's no compression, if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as it's like walking into like a diver when they go deep, when a deep sea diver goes lower and lower into the ocean, the compression increases. Well, it was like that to the extent that your energy didn't have anywhere else to go but to channel into someone else. That was the weird thing about it.
So, R3ctify, explain your name.
Oh, what's up, man?
What's going on?
Not a whole lot. My name comes from just an experience that I'm living, and I think it's.
You're not from the Bohemian Grove or anything, are you?
No, I'm not from the Bohemian Grove. I'm from Visalia, California, but I've lived in Oregon my entire life. And
did you call in a few weeks ago with regards to your sharing of an abduction experience?
I've called in a couple of times. From time to time I might call in if I'm feeling good.
You got the radio bone going?
I do, bro. I really do.
Right on. Tramjar lived in Bullhead City for a while in chat room. Right on. Yeah, chat room, guys. Everybody out there listening. freedomslips.com. 2/3 of the conversation is in the chat room. Lots of good links and stuff to click on. There is a chat links button, so you don't have to worry about the scroll. You can click on the chat links and you'll see every link that has been posted during the duration of the show. We also have a new news site. You also will find on that page, and it's a news forum. You can be your own newscaster out there. Register with us and, get your articles going and we will promote them. But yeah, Owlb4UFO, you were saying, how your name, was acquired.
Yeah, so it's just based off of an experience that I'm living. So, if anybody's ever researched or dabbled just into a little bit of the paranormal that lies within alien abduction, you know that there are some people who claim to see an owl before their experience. And so I just thought it was appropriate to name myself, or to at least give myself a chat name of Owlb4UFO. That way they kind of know.
So
why do we see owls before UFOs? I mean, what's the reason?
I think it's after, isn't it? To be more precise.
No, you're actually wrong about that. It would be before the experience. It would be a screened memory before you actually have an encounter.
That's what.
I guess it could happen afterwards as well, depending on what they want to put into your mind. But typically speaking, it would be before your experience.
Well, you see, what's happened? I think what happens is it's induced after the experience to stop you accessing the experience, and that's where the owl appears, you see. Well,
have you ever been abducted?
No, but I've heard stories about the owl, and it makes sense. It's not that what happens when they're having the experience, they're not seeing an owl. It's just that's the screen memory, which is done after the experience.
Right, but there is a reason why they use the owl, and I can get into that if you like.
I don't know. Do you want to explain why that? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, you guys gotta bear with me. I've been living this experience my entire life. I've lost a lot from this.
How many decades have you been around?
30 years.
All right.
And I've been living this experience consciously for the last 5.5, eyes wide open. So that's a lot more than the average person. So when I hear somebody speak on behalf of the abduction experience, I will typically ask them, well, are you living it?
Yeah. No, I wasn't speaking on behalf of it.
Experience.
But I was just being logical about the owl thing. How it's put in place to, as far as I know, to prevent you accessing that memory. It's a screen memory.
Well, I mean, I think we're taking that whole term of the owl and we're putting a pretty huge general.
Okay, now there's a couple of groups. please, Len. There's a couple of groups of people being taken away, right? There's the extraterrestrial, there's the terrestrial, and then there's just the no-hopers. I understand. I've been the latter of the two, not extraterrestrial. But yes. But what about for the other people who've been ripped from their parents as well? Because that's a very, very similar idea.
Revolution Radio, this is Rectify. Oh wait, that wasn't my phone. Go ahead, Paul. Yeah, Moloch the owl, that's what I was thinking of. That's what they worship at Bohemian Grove. And the reason that the owl is worshipped by the elites is because it can see at night. It is a night bird. Most birds actually, they will, they'll be sleeping at night. They don't fly around at night, but an owl will. And it also can turn its head 180 degrees. So it can see all around and at night.
Its entire environment. And also the other thing, like what you guys were asking about before earlier, is why do they use the owl as a symbol? And I can actually tell you why, and it's because I've actually seen a gray. So I've only seen a gray in the last 5.5 years. I've only seen a gray once, consciously, eyes wide open, but I actually got to see it. I got to look at it. I got to see its face. And I got to see how it looks. And I'll be honest with you, if somebody comes forward and makes a claim, I've seen a gray alien, you'd say, well, that's pretty bizarre for someone to say that. But your next question would be, well, what did it look like? And the biggest thing that surprised me wasn't the black eye that it had, or the shape of its face, or the slit for a mouth, or the color of its skin, or the smoothness of it. It was just the sheer size of its head. People don't understand. I've seen all the YouTube videos. I have plenty of experiences where I remember seeing beings, and I've never seen one consciously eyes wide open. And after seeing that, their heads are huge, and I understand it. They're shaped just like the shape of an owl's face. And if you do your research on the owl, it's like Rectify was stating, the owl can see in the dark. It's a nocturnal bird. It can fly. It takes off in flight when it sees its prey. And the owl says who, right? Because you never know who it is. And what's interesting about the owl is the owl's face, just the shape of the owl's face.
It's like a cat.
But it gives it this. The owl's face is kind of shaped like a heart if you look at it, and it actually gives the owl a built-in sonar radar capability. That's why they call the owl the sniper. Okay, and I believe that these gray beings have some sort of similar capability, and I think that's one reason why their heads are so huge. I don't think it's because they've been in space for so long, or that gravity or no gravity had an effect. I think it's because it's by design. They have these huge heads, and it plays a part in them being able to read their environment like a sniper.
Okay, what about the volume of the owl's ears? The lenses focus onto the feathers that make the eyes so big. Also, sound induction, like speakers or speaker transistors, to receive.
Wait, I don't understand what you just said.
Okay,
sir.
A speaker has a cone. So do the eyes in their lenses and this and that. And you know how you said a barn owl, which is what the most owls that we actually know, even in Australia we have barn owls, right? And they've got these huge big eyes with these big dishes at the front. But the dishes aren't for the eyes. They're actually for the ears.
What dishes?
Yeah, the
cones in the eye.
No, you know how they have all the feathers and they look like a big radar dish? That's actually for the ears, not the eyes.
Okay.
And that's why they can spin their head almost 360 around. Almost.
So, yeah, it's interesting now you've talked about the owl there. It makes sense as a screen memory, because, especially because if someone sees a grey, they're going to shout, what the hell is that? Or who? You know, who are they? Who are they? Who are these people? Mm-hmm. And the association with who, and I could see how a screen memory would fit in nicely with, who? Oh, it's just an owl. Who? That would seem quite normal as a screen memory. If you're shouting who at the top of your mind kind of thing, So that's quite clever, really, if you think about it. But you said, you mentioned the word sniper. You think they got big heads because of, why did you use the word sniper?
Well, the owl is described as a sniper. If you watch many videos just online on the owl and how it uses its capabilities to hone in on its target, and it's considered a sniper because of how accurate and precise it is as a hunter.
Right. If the United States corporation didn't use the eagle as its symbol, they would have chosen the owl next.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of different entities out there will use the owl as a symbol. A lot of people realize that the Masons use the owl on a dollar bill, and there's a specific reason. You guys mentioned Bohemian Grove, and that's one thing that I truly believe is I believe that the whole UFO controversy, I believe it's surrounded in everything that we see on this planet. I don't know how. I don't know in what way. I don't know. But I realize that these beings who control this technology, they have to rule the universe, or at least the universe that exists within us. And so it just makes me fascinated. It makes me very curious as to what it really is, what the experience really is, because I've seen a lot, eyes wide open, and that's why it's hard for me to actually come to the public and to talk about it, because the majority of the public believes that Stan Romanak is a genuine, real experiencer, and that what he has said thus far has been the truth. And yet, what was it, 2 weeks ago? He was just charged. He turned himself into authorities because he was charged with child porn. Now, I knew from day one that Stan Romanak was false. He was pseudo. He was
okay. Can I ask a question?
But what's interesting, what's very interesting is when I looked out into the media and the different mediums that existed that I could see when it came to TV, whether it was cable television and there was some program on Sci-Fi Channel, whatever it was, where people were talking about alien abductions. Guess whose face would pop up on there? It's Stan Romanak, right? And all of a sudden, radio shows, I've heard it plenty of times on Revolution Radio, on Blog Talk, on YouTube, various different channels where people mention Stan Romanak as if he is legit, as if the research that they did for the last 20 years made them truly believe that Stan Romanak was telling the truth. And yet, with the very little bit of experience that I have, I knew that he was lying.
Okay, we'll come back. Come back to that then as to why he's lying. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, I don't know Stan Romanak through flipping a coin, right? Honestly, I don't know who he is, what he represents, and how he represents. But where I'm coming from, if you keep your eyes wide open and don't let your ears work too, hello, you'll be blinded by the light.
So, Len, go ahead. Why do you think he was lying, or how?
I could tell just because I'm living the experience. I know I'm living it. It's hard for people to really truly understand.
Like the authorities, quote unquote, will set people up left and right, truthers, now especially with child porn on their computers.
That's where you go.
Easily done.
That's where you go with it. And here's another horrible thing that's going to happen from this, okay? You've got Stan Romanak who goes out there. I know for a fact, you guys, there's a video. There's a video online where he is sitting in a room, he's surrounded by people in chairs, and he has his eyes closed. He's sitting in a recliner, okay? And there's a guy standing in across from him, across from the room. He's got a notepad, and he's reading off questions to Stan Romanak. And Stan Romanak is answering the guy, but he's answering him pretending to be an alien. Now, I know for a fact that if you're truly living this experience, there is no such thing as that happening. Period. I don't care who you are, where you're from, how much I don't care. That's just not how it works. So it's right there in the open. And I think
it's like that girl Destiny. Have you ever seen that YouTube channel, Destiny, that blonde girl from Europe who claims to like breathe in spirits and then let them talk through her. Yeah, that's a bunch of crap.
And you know, I believe people's minds, and this is what sucks, is people take a chance. They take a chance in believing in something, and they take a risk, and they open their minds. Unfortunately, they open them too wide, too fast, too open to just anybody, and their brain falls out, unfortunately. Now that's big for me to say. That's big for me to say after saying, hey, I've been abducted by aliens. Right? That's pretty big for me to say. So it's hard for me to get into this. But another point I want to make, it's hard for someone like myself who's really living the experience to come forward to the public and to say, hey, I'm actually going through something here, and you guys aren't listening. I feel like you guys aren't paying attention, because if I were to come to the public and say, hey, I got taken, I don't think they're aliens, and I don't think we're being abducted. And yet the media that reaches the earth has everybody thinking that these are aliens and that we're being abducted.
Do you think they're demons?
Yeah, hold it there. I mean, firstly, you have a platform here now, Len, and I'm very intrigued and very curious to know more.
Yes, please go on.
And so, you know, so what do you think is going on? What do you think is going on? You know, explain the large why, because it sounds as though you're quite empathic, which is great, which gives you a certain insight. So why do you think they have the large heads, and what do you think they actually are, or that you know what's going on?
Well, hold on. Let me try to answer that question. You asked me, why do I think they have such large heads?
Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued by that. You know.
You know, I don't. I believe that gray that I saw in my room standing next to my bed at that moment in time, I believe that being was created. I don't think it was born. It was too perfect. Its skin was flawless. People need to understand that the grays, their skin is flawless. They don't have any moles, no hair. It was perfect. It was beautiful. I wasn't even afraid of I wasn't even afraid of it. There could have been a quarter-inch sized spider in that room. I would have been more afraid of that spider than that freaking thing in my room for some reason. Okay, and I can't explain that. But I believe its head is, listen, that moment I was in my bed before I saw that gray, I didn't see a flash of light out my window. I didn't hear anything come up to the window. I didn't hear my door open. I'm sharp. I'm really sharp when I'm in my house with my wife and my kids. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm sharp. And I didn't hear nothing come up to me. That thing appeared out of nowhere. Now, I want to tell you guys something here, because this is something I experienced, and I learned something from it really, really quick. And I was supposed to learn from it. I was sitting in my bed. It was dark. My wife's asleep. My children are asleep. The house is shut down. Doors locked, windows locked. And I'm just thinking to myself at the time, okay? And out of nowhere, no noise, the temperature didn't change. All of a sudden, right next to my bed, a half of a gray's face appeared. Now, people have to listen to this, because I learned so much from this one experience, and they didn't have to say a freaking word. A half of a gray's face appeared to my bed. It was the right side of the gray's face. So I saw, looking at it, it was the left side. I could see the eye. I could see its forehead. I could see the side of its face. I could see the nose it had, the slit for a mouth. It doesn't have a real mouth. It's just a slit. I could see the huge black eye, and I sprung forward in my bed because I was so surprised that this thing was sitting next to my bed like that. And I slapped my partner. When she sprung forward and I looked, it was gone. At that point in time, I knew I had to think fast. And I told her, well, I just had a bad dream. And she laid down, I laid down. I passed out after that. I should have got up. I should have walked around my house, checked my kids, checked my windows, thought about it, right? But I didn't. I passed out. All right? Now, what I learned from that, and I needed to learn this, and they knew that, and it isn't because they told me, it's just because I know my life. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they can't see you. And just because you're not aware of that doesn't mean they're not watching you. And you see, I had to learn that. I had to learn that raw. And it changed me. It changed me as a father. It changed me as a human. It changed me as a living, conscious being, period. It was a kick in my rear end And it was hard for me to take in, but I learned that at that time. And that's when I started researching the all-seeing eye. I never learned about the all-seeing eye from YouTube. I never heard about it from a friend. I saw that all-seeing eye symbol through that gray that one night, and after a couple of months of me being traumatized by the experience, I asked myself, I should start looking for something where there's one eye. There's a one eye symbol, something. They didn't have to approach me that way. They didn't have to let me remember anything, and yet they did. And so I started looking into it. And that's when I came across, it didn't take me long, as many of you guys know. I came across a bunch of stuff on the internet that went into the all-seeing eye and the different theories that lie around it, which I think was pretty fascinating that I found that after experiencing what I did.
So again then, why the big head?
I answered that. I answered that with the gray in particular. I don't know why the other beings out there have large heads. I have no clue. I just think, particularly with that gray, I think it's by design. I think that whoever creates that gray is using that gray as a device for them to obviously, take people, and so they need to be able
So you believe, like I do, that the grays are synthetic beings that are created by man?
I don't think they're created by man.
Because of the skin that you mentioned.
Just because of the capability it has. I mean, and that's another thing is a lot of people think that the government is doing these abductions, and they might be doing something to the side, but I believe for the majority part, people just don't get it. I've seen too much.
Okay. I think I like the direction you're heading in then, but I'm still more, I still want to go a little bit.
I know, you're really tied up into why are their heads so big. Great. I already told you why the great head's so big. What I'd like to get into though is why I don't...
Hold on, Len. What I'm tied into is I want to dive deeper into what's going on. And I think the reason I mentioned the size of the head is because that will give a clue as to the design nature. Now, you said something about, the design aspect of things, and then you touched on how you think they're being used. So are you implying that perhaps they are a conduit for something else that's kind of before them, if you like?
Absolutely.
They're missionaries. That's what I've read. They're missionaries. They do missions. That's why I think they're synthetic cyborgs, cyber organisms, the grays.
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that's on the internet where you can read about it, and there's a bunch of people making claims. All I can tell you is what I've seen and what I have come to some sort of conclusion based off of that. You know what I mean?
How many times has this happened to you?
How many times have I been taken?
Yeah.
I've been taken my entire life.
Oh, wow. So it's constant.
That's what people don't understand, is it's not like I got taken once or twice or 3 or 4 times. I've been taken so many times, and especially in the last 5.5 years where I was consciously aware of it, I was waiting for it, and then it would freaking happen. And that's what people don't understand. It's like, I've seen it. Eyes wide open. And that's how I know. The smarter I got, the more I started learning, these beings, whatever they are, started approaching me differently. And that's when I ultimately figured out these aren't aliens like the media wants us to believe. They want us to believe that these are some sort of, listen, watch this. Watch how they do this. I think it's fascinating. They're good. They say alien abduction, which automatically gets any person who's going to listen to this theory or to this story or to this topic think that these are some sort of alien creatures.
Terrorists.
Alien creatures from outer space that does not live on planet Earth. Right? Alien. So
okay, can I actually... Please, my turn. Going back to being back in the day, I was a ward of the state from 6 to 18, right? I was under the government's care in Australia, right? I don't really care. I can say this, it's over almost 30 years almost, So I've gotten over it, But it's a very similar idealism because I've actually heard a couple of people who've been abducted similar to, and my mind says it's very, very similar, but I can't get the aspect on where you're coming from, but you say it so eloquently, I'm gonna be quiet and let you keep on going. But also, there's other people around the world who haven't been abducted, but have been abducted by governments around the world. So that's what I'd like to interact and, also bounce off.
Okay, well, you know what? I think you bring out a good point there, and one thing I want to say that just kind of brings everybody into the conversation is through my experience, I don't think that there are just a certain few that get abducted. I think these beings, I don't think they're aliens, you guys. I think these are the beings that literally transfer our souls into these bodies. And when we die, they're the ones we get to say hi to. That's what I think. So therefore, whoever's sitting in this round table, whether you've seen a UFO, whether you've had an experience or not, I believe that everybody goes through these beings, period, if you make it into this body. And that's what trips me out, because I realize that 30,000 people each day on this earth die because they didn't get a glass of water or they didn't get access to clean water. And so I'm starting to open my eyes wide like, whoa, what's really going on here?
But if that's the case, then you're not dying at these points that you're seeing them. So why are they appearing to you? Why are they taking you?
And that's a good question.
Do you know?
I mean, I could theorize, right? I could theorize as to why I think they would be taking me or my family. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
At first, when I first started getting into this, I thought they were outer space aliens. I was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and bam, I got abducted, and then all of a sudden they're studying me. Or they're having me make hybrids for some sort of program, which I won't doubt that. I do believe that they're making hybrids. I do believe there's a program there, but I think there's the connection between us and them is so far reaching that I don't even understand it. I'm trying to understand it. Okay, I don't have all the answers here. I'm 30 years old. I've only had so many experiences, so I don't have all the answers. All I can do is try to come forward and tell you what I know. And I think if we get more people to do that, and we get more honest people without interior motives to do that, then we can actually compile all this stuff and actually make data out of it.
Okay, and there's the break.
We'll be back in about 3 minutes, everybody. Stick around. This is the Gray Zone Roundtable, 347-688-2902.
Dr. J every Sunday from 10 p.m. Eastern to midnight for Researchers on a Mission Radio. We will be interviewing guests in ufology, experts on the paranormal, and stories from you, the listener. Every Sunday, 10 p.m. in Studio B. Join us for some amazing conversations and edge-of-your-seat true thrillers.
Right here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, Studio B, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday nights. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
This is Thomas, a.k.a. a Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Anti-aircraft guns action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area shortly after 3 a.m. Pacific Wartime this morning.
We are far stronger than we were 10 weeks ago.
Zero quarters, all hands at your battle stations.
You're nervous, count your toes. I'll do the mastermind around here.
Those who have not seen it do not know what hell looks like from the top.
Well, check it out every Tuesday and Saturday on Revolution Radio. It's a double dose of the internationally recognized renegade military historian Douglas Dietrich.
You'll stay right where you are till I tell you to move out.
Yeah, that's right. Tuesdays from 10 to midnight Eastern Time. Join Douglas Dietrich as he exposes the truth in hidden history on his show Critical Omissions. And then our human weapon of mass destruction is back once again to take your calls on Saturday Night Firing Lines. Both from 10 to 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Only on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
Transcending time and space, let us take you to the place inside your mind where thoughts divide and mysteries unwind. Join us every Monday evening right here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And you will catch the Fenton Perspective with our great host, Lorian Fenton. Come listen in as she shares her amazing stories from the past to present, along with all of her guest secrets to the future. That's the Fenton Perspective every Monday evening right here from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Revolution Radio. Oh, and you don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Listen in to Journeys with JP Tuesdays on Revolution Radio at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, with a variety of guests, each giving their unique perspective on their journey through to the now. Journeys offers you, the listener, a chance to share that perspective. Join me, JP, on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Revolution Radio, simulcast with Wolf Spirit Radio.
Revolution Radio. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host. Radio at freedomslips.com. We'll be right back after this message.
Who owns you? If you're not in control, then someone else is. Join me, Ivy West, for Voices on the Wind, Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern in Studio A. I discuss government, health, metaphysics, suppressed science, universal mysteries, little-known incredible facts, alternative energies, and even more than you can imagine. Won't you join us on Revolution Radio Saturdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern for Voices on the Wind with me, Ivy West.
There are lives in the balance, people under fire, children at the cannons.
Because if your head's in the sand, your tail is a target.
Hi everybody, it's me, the Fetch, host of Inside the Eye Live. Before the Sunday mainstream media political pundit talk shows, there is Inside the Eye Live, where we break down some of the weekly mainstream media talking points before the talking points even get aired. Add in some entertaining stories, weather, cats, intriguing and informative guests, and you get one of the most listened to Saturday morning streaming media political talk shows going today. And it's all right here on our flagship station, Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. So join me, the Fetch, for Inside the Eye Live every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. It is truly intelligent media for the politically aware.
Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Welcome to the TheGrayZone Roundtable, Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. 100% listener-supported radio. No corporate ties, corporate duct tape dictating our freedom of speech. It shall remain that way as long as we are supported by you. Join us, 347-688-2902. Enter the Gray Zone.
Hello and welcome back to the Gray Zone with myself, Wingman, and R3ctify, and of course the callers that join us. We are 100% listener supported, as you well know. So, yes, we need your money. We always need your money. So cancel those subscriptions to the trashy cable channels that you have and those pay-per-view iffy sites, if you like, and just send us the money instead. We'll put it to good use. In fact, I think now our hosts will eventually start getting some of the funds to help them along, because most of them are skint and hard up, but do their best to try and help you guys, educate you, tell you what's going on. So, yes, this is the Gray Zone, and it was going to happen eventually, but yes, we're talking about greys. Someone has taken us literally, which is fine, and I think it's a fascinating topic. But we're talking about greys and aliens and abductions, and I'm trying to say things a little bit deeper with our friend Owlb4UFO, who's joined us, along with Aussie Paul. And, yes, continue, please, Owlb4UFO.
716 during the break called in. He dropped off. Go ahead and call back in. We don't know why we had our break problem there. It shouldn't have been that long, but yeah, that's happened 2 weeks in a row now. But, yeah, give us a call back in, 716. We'd love to hear what you have to say.
Right, so, Al, before the break, you were talking a little bit about the abduction experience, and you said one of the things you said you didn't believe they were aliens.
Right.
Now, can you go a bit deeper into that? What's your opinion on that? Maybe about their origins and who's using them, if they are being used, and maybe a little bit about, again, why are they targeting you? Have you meditated on that? Have you tried to recollect some of the abduction experience? Because you say it's been happening for a long time. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's been happening my entire life.
So, have you managed to access or overcome any of the screen memories as to what they're doing with you while you're in their company?
When's the first time you can remember this happening to you? How early of an age?
The first time that I remember coming across these beings, period, was when I was 7. I went on a paper route, and I think that's how it is for a lot of people. You're young, 7, 6. You'll hear a lot of people say they're 6 or 7, and they're out. I was out late at night, 3 or 4 in the morning, and that's when I first came across a UFO that was in the sky. And I'd like to actually share something real quick here, because one question that I don't know what your name is. I think it's who is it? Is it Wingman or Paul that's asking the question?
Wingman.
Yeah, Wingman.
Okay, so Wingman, you asked me if I think there are other beings looking through these guys, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think these beings, like, I think some of them that I've come up to, like, I'm sure you guys have seen the movie Communion with Whitley Strieber, written by Whitley.
Yeah.
And you see the being that kind of peeks through its head through the door.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that those beings are, they're consciously aware of who they are. I don't think that there's somebody else looking through them, is what I'm trying to say. And I think those beings are females. I'll say that right now, the brown ones, like they show in that movie. But like that, for instance, when I was younger and I was on that paper route, there was a point in time where I had lost control of my body, and I was running down this road. I didn't have control of my body. All I could do was look through my eyes. And I started running up to this forest. Now, as I got within like 50 to 75-ish yards between me and the forest, I noticed 3 beings step forward. And they were standing in a triangle format. So there was one in the center, and then maybe 2 feet behind him, there was one to the left and one to the right. They had skin-tight black suits on, and they were green. And they had these huge, big black eyes. When I ran up to them, I was so terrified as a little boy that in my mind, the only thing I thought I had control over at that point in time, I said, just pretend to be excited so that they don't know you're afraid. And that's when a voice inside my head cut my own train of thought off and said, yes, get over here now. It was like a male robotic voice that said it. And it was the one in the center of those 3 beings that said it. I could tell just by looking at them. And when I ran up to them, listen to this. Yeah. When I ran up to them, I looked up at their faces because I was blown away at what I was looking at. They did not look down at me. They did not look between the tree lines to see if anybody was looking out their window. It wasn't like that. They all turned around at the same time. And they moved slow. Very slow. It wasn't like
turned around to look at you, did you say? Do you mean?
No, they turned around to start walking up into the forest, up the mountain. But when they turned around, because first they were facing me, I was facing the street, remember? I'm coming up to them.
Yeah.
They had to turn around to walk up the mountain. They didn't turn around like a freaking velociraptor or, like they make them seem in the movies. It wasn't like that, man. These things, they turned around real slow. And each one of them moved at the same time. When they
I like your detail. Then
that's the detail that you should have if you're going through this. You should be able to give
the
detail.
It's in the detail. I mean, this is why I'm intrigued by what you have to say. Go ahead, Ozzy Ball. First thing there.
Yeah. Thank God. It's a great act of saying that you had 3 beams shown to did you feel them with your body, or did you see them before you felt them? That's my question.
At the time, I had no clue what was happening. I had lost control of my body, and I was running down this street. And to the left of me is this huge forest, and my body stopped, and I started turning towards the forest. And at the time, I was freaking out. I was 7 years old. I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't scream. I didn't even want to scream. I didn't know what was happening. And I just started running towards the forest. And that's when I started freaking out, because I'm like, that's the last place I want to go. It's the dark forest out here. You know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm 7.
Just one more question. When you were 7, did you have any siblings? Don't say how many.
Yeah.
Say yes. Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Were you fearful for them too?
At the time, no. I was only thinking about myself, I'll be honest. At the time, I was by myself. It was like, in the moment, I couldn't think about anything else but what was just before me, I'll be honest.
Okay,
so
thank you very much, Wingman.
Cheers, Paul. So, Al, you said you were on your bike, right?
No, we had rode our bikes to the house that the papers were dropped off, but after that, we actually had me wear this carrier bag where you put the papers in the front, the papers in the back,
okay.
And
So you're walking down the street, yeah, and you see a UFO, yeah, is that right?
I did see a UFO.
And then you're taking control of, or controlled to walk towards the forest, is that right? That order?
After a specific point in time in the paper route, yes, that is actually correct. That is correct.
Do you remember anything about whilst you're looking up at the UFO, what you're thinking or doing, or what you're feeling, or anything going on there?
What do you mean while I'm looking up at the UFO?
You say you see a UFO just before the incident of the forest.
I did see a UFO.
Sorry, you're breaking up around there. This is Revolution Radio. I'm sorry.
Cool. Right, so that's the point. Whilst you're looking up at the UFO, is there anything you can remember about that incident? Because that happens just before, that precedes the event where you see them in the forest, correct?
It is. At the time, my sibling and I was just curious and wondering what it was that was up there. So.
Just says so you're in a state of wonder.
Oh shit.
I was just curious. I was curious. I didn't know what was up there. I didn't know what it was that I was
looking at. Is that right? No, she's gone. We're gone. Okay. Linus, if you call back, there was something up with there was some noise going on with your mic there. So, what happened to your brother or sister that you were with? Where did they go?
Well, okay, that's the thing is, in this paper route, the reason I went on the paper route was to help my sibling. That was the only reason. And
your sibling? Sorry, what do you mean? Your sister or your brother? Or?
Yeah. It was my older sister.
Older sister, right? Okay.
It was my older sister, and so at a specific point in the paper route, we would split up. She would walk up this very steep road, and I would continue on down the road, and then we'd meet back up and head home. It's what you would do if you went out with 2 people and you wanted to save time. So that's where we split up.
Oh, that's good. I've got a better picture now. So, you see the UFO, you're in a state of wonder, you probably don't really know as a kid what entirely what it is.
Right.
Now, the interesting part is, you say they take control of you, so it sounds as though they have some sort of very thorough understanding of the mind and the ability to manipulate it to make you do something against your will, in effect. Is that correct?
Well, you touch up on something very interesting. So I like this. I like that you're actually going here, because for the longest time, I was under the impression that was the first time I came across those beings.
Right.
It's quite clear that, and the thing is too, is like, okay, where my sister and I would split up, this is actually probably important detail I should give, where my sister and I split up, she would start walking up this steep pitch black road, and then I would continue on down the road. Well, my sister had gotten maybe around 20 feet up this road, and that's when all of a sudden I heard a voice, it was like a robotic male voice, say, "Now's the time." And at that time, I turned around behind me to look to see who was behind me, to see who said that. And there was no one there. And that's when I looked back up at my sister, and you need to understand that the microsecond I looked at my sister, I was expecting for her to turn around. because I expected her to have heard the same voice say the same thing, and she didn't. And so for every microsecond that went past that point of me turning around and looking at her, I began to get scared that maybe she didn't hear it, and that's when all of a sudden I lost control of my body, and my body started running down this road. I couldn't even look back at my sister to say, hey, help me, or I just started running. And I started freaking out.
Got some breaking news that came in from Pony. Largest oil refinery in Europe is on fire. This is posted March 3rd, today. Or yesterday. I'm going to try to pronounce it. It's Neftegamska Neftehem is the largest oil refinery in Europe. It's located in Tatarstan, Russia. And today at 7 p.m. Moscow time, dozens of firemen were urgently summoned as the oil giant started burning. So, yeah, and this is part of this World War III starting. We got the largest oil refinery in Europe, which is located in Russia.
That's
on fire. Yeah. And the link is in there. If you're in the chat room, click on the links button on the left.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture now. It's pretty massive. But this would be a great opportunity for them to hike up oil prices,
Right.
okay?
And we've also been joined by Lioness. Hello, Julie.
I'm off mute. Thank
There you are.
Hello. Nice to meet you all again and see and hear you all again. I am currently on the hunt for Jer Bear. Is he on this call?
No, he is not.
No, I think he's on the other one.
Have you been listening to the conversation, Linus?
No, I have not. I've been listening to A. Sweeties, you guys are on B, right?
No, we're on A.
All right, well, I've been on B then. Okay, I've been listening to Al.
Yeah, that's Al's with us.
Oh, okay. Hey, Al, it's Linus. It's Julie.
Hey.
Hey, sweetheart. Tell us more.
Wait, is there something you'd like to ask, Linus?
Yeah, I would really like to hear Al's story. The whole story.
Okay, we'll carry on, shall we?
Well, he's been abducted so many times, like that story could take hours.
Alright, so the short version. Alright, you said that, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, you said that the Greys did not seem as sentient beings, and yet they were not quite roboticized, if you will, okay? There was something in between, and I was waiting for you to define that. Could you do that for me, Al?
Okay, well, when you refer, when people refer to the Gray, when I refer to the Gray, I'm talking about the being that I saw next to my bed, just because its skin color was gray. Okay? Mm-hmm. So that's what I think people mean when they say the Greys. The beings that I approached in the forest where their skin color was green, or the being that I saw at some place, I don't know where it was, but it's like the one in Communion where it's brown, it's got that face, with the brown skin. You know, I don't...
Check 1, 2.
I think Lenny, you back? We lost you for a moment.
No.
Right,
I'm here. I'm just, they're not all the same.
Okay.
They're not all the same, and I mean that's just it. Is they're not? They have different skin color. They are built. They're built similar in that they all have skinny bodies, but they're not all the same. And I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I'm very, very curious.
Okay. Can we go back before skin color and body shape? What is your feeling about the difference between them? What is your feeling about it?
My feeling after seeing everything that I have is like, I get the feeling that these beings know us before we come to Earth, and that when we have children, I get the feeling that these are the beings that play a part in us actually coming into these bodies. And I get the feeling that they're the ones who played a part in designing these bodies to be the way that they are.
Which ones though, Len? Because it sounds as though you've seen several types of...
Yes, but you know what? I think they're a part of one project, one group.
So the brown skin, the green skin, and the grey skin, you think they're all part of the same collective?
Yes, absolutely.
Like a hive mind?
There's like the ones that I saw in the forest. I mean, they just seemed like robotic scouts. They just seemed like robotic.
Could it be their vessels that are being, like they're just vessels, and they're being inhabited from elsewhere, kind of thing?
I don't know.
Remotely, you might say.
I have no clue.
No.
No, Al, no, don't say you have no clue. You have a feeling. You were there. What is it?
Many times.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like I can go within and like try to.
What's your gut tell you?
Do they feel like robots, or do they? I mean, you said
Not
there was
all
like a
of them,
symbiotic
okay,
type
the ones
of
that
feeling.
were in the forest, when I ran up to them and just the way that they responded, they didn't look down at me like I was looking up at them. They turned around and moved all at the same time. I think those ones were like straight up really robotic because they all moved at the same time, like as if someone had a remote control and pressed forward, and they all moved forward at the same time. But the other ones, man, like the brown.
Which ones? I mean, the color of the skin of the robotic ones, is that gray?
Green.
Okay.
Yeah, the gray.
So the
I don't
gray
know.
ones
The gray,
seem to have more of their own minds.
I don't know because I only saw it for a couple of seconds, and after that, I passed out. I just got to look at it.
So, Len, going back to the forest incident, you said they turned around. Did you follow them?
Yeah, we all walked together.
Why did you follow them?
I was supposed to. I was under control. Come on, man. Are you
were
serious?
still under control at that point when you walked up to them? Because you said they turned away from you.
No, I was. If I remember correctly, at that point in time, I was okay. I could look up at their face. I was walking.
Okay.
So
it sounds as though you walked with them voluntarily.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you mentioned that, Wingman, because if you go back to where I heard that voice in my head say, "Now's the time," it took me years to get this, guys. But if someone came up to you and said, "Now's the time," that's not the first time you've met that person.
No.
Right.
Now's the time is like something you say to someone when you've had a conversation about something, and now you come to him and say, "Now's the time." So it took me a long time to be able to think about this. So many times I started thinking about what it was that I was seeing. Now that gets to another good point. Like there are some people who say that these beings don't have emotions, right? But I will say that's BS. They do. And one reason for that is the moment I got taken by those three beings, I don't remember where I went. I don't know how I got there. I honestly don't. Okay? But what I do remember is that I came to in a dark room, and the floor was metal. But if you spilt something, it would go through. So it was like a grated metal, okay? Something like a submarine.
Porous metal.
It's something like a submarine would have, okay? So it was a metal, but the walls were dirt. So I was like in an underground tunnel where they laid down metal on the floor, but the walls, they just kept it as dirt. And it wasn't like smooth wall. It looked like somebody came through there with a pickaxe and, made these tunnels. Yeah, exactly. You could see even it wasn't smooth. And the light came from the bottom of the floor where the bottom of the floor met the wall, that metal met the wall, the light gleamed up. And it lit the room perfectly fine. But my point here is this. I'm sitting there in this room and I'm looking around me like, where the hell am I? And that's when this being came in. It's just like the one in communion with the brown skin, but it has a robe on. And you'll hear this. You'll hear people say, "Oh, I saw this being and it had a robe on." Now, the robe, what I can see with my own two eyes, this being approaching me, the robe is not made out of cotton. The robe is not made out of a fabric. It's like a hide, a skin hide.
A hide?
Yes.
Like an animal hide?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And I thought for the longest time of what is this material that I'm looking at, because I noticed right from the get-go that it wasn't cotton. It wasn't a fabric. It was something different. And for a long time, I finally realized, like, you know what? That's a skin hide that's on it. Now, listen to this. Why does so many people get tripped up on hearing somebody say, "There's this being approaching me, it's an alien, it's got a robe on," that they forget to ask themselves, why is the alien wearing a robe?
Exactly.
Now, is it because it's cold? No, the temperature is controlled. I can tell. I'm in there. It's controlled.
Why is he wearing a robe?
Is it because it's a fashion statement? Is it because these aliens have a fashion statement? And if you're wearing a robe, you're cooler? No. The alien is wearing a robe because it is consciously aware that it is naked.
So it has humility, huh?
And that is an emotion. That is the strongest emotions you can ever have.
Al, is it consciously aware that it's naked? Agreed, but it is also wearing a robe of animal skin from this realm and planet, right? Or was it something else? It's wearing a skin of this planet.
I don't know.
What do you think?
I don't know.
It could be wearing a tracksuit instead, like, you know.
No, it could have been a different material that I'm just not completely aware of.
Did you see more than one that was wearing a robe?
I've seen more than one of them wear robes.
Same kind of style?
Same style.
Okay. So that would, for me, and having not been there, that's why I'm asking you your feeling. What that would show that it was like some a robe of importance or trophy.
Wearing the robe because it's aware that it's naked. Just like if we were in a room, the last thing we would at least appreciate to have is something to cover up our body. That's the last thing we'd want. And that's what it had.
Anything, an animal skin?
It was like you know, like Native Americans when they have those robes, and some of them were made out of. Yeah, that's what it looked like. That's exactly what it looked like. It walked right up to me. It was less than 2 feet away. You know, I saw this. You know, if you saw something, you should be able to remember the detail.
And you can, yes.
And do these look like the little ones in Communion, the short ones?
Okay, that's the thing. In Communion, they nailed it. At least, I've never seen one of those blue-looking guys. I've never seen that. I've never seen it. But the ones, those little aliens, those little brown ones, they hit it on the freaking button.
The brown ones, the tall ones, you mean, or the short ones?
Yeah. Well, I think they were all fairly mid-size. Okay. But they hit it. They nailed it.
All right, so Al, then what happened?
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so check this out. I remembered this since I was a child, right? And I talked to my sister about this years ago before I was aware that this was happening. But I've always had this memory. It's always been with me. And what happened was, after that being came into the room, it looked down at me and it tilted its head like a dog does when it's curious. It did the exact same thing with its head. It tilted it, and I heard a voice in my head say, "Are you a messenger boy?" Because it was looking down at my carrier bag. I had this carrier bag where I'm carrying newspapers. And so it's looking at my carrier bag and it asked me, "Are you a messenger boy?" And the next thing I remember is I look down on the ground and my clothes are on the ground, the carrier bag is on the ground, and that's when that being had started moving forward to me. It started moving real close to my face. And naturally I started just to back up, because I was uncomfortable, and I got all the way to the point where I had to go to the ground. And that's when it got all the way up. Listen, I remember this since I was a child. I just thought it was a dream. I never could explain it. I didn't want to think about it. But that thing got right up to my face, so close that it was like less than an inch away from my eye, and it just stared. It just stared at me. It just sat there, and I could see. You guys don't understand.
You just freeze?
I don't freeze. I'm perfectly in control of my body, but I could see its face.
It's probably looking into you at that moment. It sounds more like looking into you.
My eyes, but I mean, I could see its face. Oh my God, it's not like.
You keep talking about it. Do you have any sense of male or female?
I think this one's a female. I think the brown ones are females, you guys.
Just like a praying mantis.
Yes, I'm telling you right now. And that's
pretty
just
ones, the green pretty ones are the males.
Based off of what I've seen, and how I interact with them. That's how I figure the brown ones are females. Now,
what happened with that?
Al, you mentioned a second ago, you said something like, it's a messenger boy. You said something about messenger boy. Was that what you were asked? Are you a messenger boy?
No, and listen, you need to understand that that's just what I heard. Now, you need to understand that. Stop. What it had done is, you need to remember, I was wearing a carrier bag that said the Register Guard. And in that carrier bag, there was newspapers. So it looked down, it tilted its head and looked at the carrier bag that I was wearing. And it had asked me, "Are you a messenger boy?"
Okay.
Okay. Now, I don't know what I don't know. And I'm not on the radio show now because all of a sudden I'm some messenger that's supposed to go forward.
How many times have you come forward with your information publicly?
When about
I mean, how many times have you been on the air speaking of your story?
On the air, maybe less than
twice.
Five times. Less than 5 times total. I mean, I called in to
And what is the message, what's the bottom line message you want the public to get from your story?
Question.
You know, I think I'm trying to reach out to all those others who are truly living the experience, and I'm trying to let others know that there are people such as myself who are living this experience, really truly going through it. And I'm 30 years old. I have 2 kids. I've made it this far. I don't know what's around the corner, but...
When's the last time they came and got you?
I don't know. I mean, I honestly...
You remember all kinds of other incidents.
Well, 30 years, you're going to have memories of things happening, but recently things have definitely...
Sounds like there's a sense of fear inside of you because of it. I mean,
well, I think
scared?
I'm not. Okay, well, that's a good question. I'm not scared of it. Like, after going through this experience, just having certain things happen, I know that these beings care about my family and I, at least. So I know that much. I don't know what caring means to them. For me, I can't assume that, that means I'm going to win the lottery, or that means that I'm going to have a good life for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like, I get that, but I do believe that they care about us. So okay. I don't. Yeah, I mean.
Well, they're definitely analyzing us. So yeah, that whole, your proposition on that they might be our test tube creators, is a good point, because it seems as if they're like scientists that are analyzing a species. That's like always the reflection I get when I read these stories of grave visitations.
Well, and you yourself, though, Rectify, I mean, you on your Skype here, I can see you have the famous photo of a UFO sighting that took place quite some time ago. But, it's interesting when I see people such as yourself who say they've seen a UFO, and it inspires you to research.
What photo are we speaking of again?
The one that's on your Skype, the one that you're using on your Skype right now.
Oh, no, that's a picture of myself with my Budweisers.
Yeah, but in the front there below, there's a picture frame. You told me about this before.
Oh, no, that's my front door surveillance camera.
Oh.
No, it's not.
No, I have, Dr. Fred Bell, I believe, did visit me after he quote-unquote passed away. I did have a UFO visitation at 3:30 in the morning on May 9th, 2012. And it was a bright blue, probably about 12 different lights. They were all blinking in synchronicity, but okay, they're blinking to a beat, but not synchronous. Okay, if you can see that. It was random, but they'd all turn on and off on the same beat. So, and it was in the shape of a U. And yeah, it showed up right in my window. And I froze like a deer in headlights. I screamed for my wife to wake up upstairs, and she happened to be waking up from a nightmare at the time. So she was up. She wasn't in a deep sleep or anything. And she ran downstairs, and she was my witness. And we watched this thing just take off seconds later. But yeah, it's crazy. I think it was Dr. Bell letting me know that everything was all right and he's okay. because the color of the blue lights were the same exact color of the memorial I built on a crystal, a master crystal, a quartz that he gave me from his mine in Arkansas. I built a blocking oscillator, blue LED, you know, where you take your your dead AA batteries and plug it into it, and it runs for like a month. This blue LED.
Rectify. Are you justifying your experience to try to make it something that is logical when really it's not logical?
What do you mean?
That's the whole reason that you're here, is to try to find out what the heck happened and why it happened to you?
I think he was just trying to tell me, like, everything's chill, not to worry anymore. Like, don't be sad. I'm okay. Like, in other words, I'm not dead.
I got a few more questions. Julie, can you mute your mic, please, when you're not speaking? There's a bit of feedback. Owlb4UFO, you said they're underground. Do you think this is happening around the world, that these beings are underground all around the world? And why are they underground? Do you think they've been with us for a while? And just thinking about the messenger, where you say he tilts his head and says, are you a messenger thing? If I think about that, because I am quite empathic, it sounds as though that was its humor. It was being humorous.
No,
in
I
that
don't
moment.
think so.
No. I think that's honestly. I think that's actually deeper than, it's not meant to be taken literal. In other words, it was kind of being sarcastic, but maybe that's what I get from that.
Well, I appreciate your opinion on that, but
in my opinion, an alien wouldn't tilt his head.
I'll just let you know that at first, I thought, because of me having the newspapers, that it. The thing is, the thing you need to understand is this. You need to understand this. This being that's walking up to me and it's saying, "Are you a messenger boy?" This isn't the first time I've seen this being.
Mm-hmm.
So, at the time, obviously that was the first time I ever had that carrier bag on me. So, for it to see me having this carrier bag on and delivering newspapers, that was the first time it had ever seen me in that.
Why would it care about your carrier bags?
You know what? I don't know. And you guys could sit here and focus on all the little things. But
we have been focusing. I think you've been talking a lot about the little things. I think that's where you find that's where the gems are often.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, certain gems.
Because when I listen to people that talk about this subject generically, and they just float around the top, you don't learn anything. It's when you get into the detail that you learn. Like smells. Do you recall any smells? Little, questions like that.
Yeah, do they stink? Auntie Paul's got something to say too.
Yeah, I actually agree with most of the topics because I can relate to half of them, or more to the point, most of them. And this is a funny, but we're talking about 7 years of age between us, right? He's gone off in different tangent, and I've gone peace officers. And even to this day, I still say, hello, sir, hello, this and that, to any peace officer. It doesn't matter, in any country or whatnot, because I haven't done anything wrong. And the best part about doing that with peace officer, they'll always take you home if you haven't done anything wrong, or, and this and that. But the funny part about it is, determine home back in when you're young, and determine home when you're older. So, yeah.
Aussie Paul, or actually, it's Owlb4UFO.
What's that,
something
dude?
different. We're echoing off you.
What?
Yeah, something happened. We were getting some reverb.
I'd actually like to talk about an experience that I had when I was younger, and I don't know what to make of it, but similar age actually, about 7. And I used to go. I was like, you might say, a super psychic kid when I was young. A lot of the psychicness I've turned off on purpose as I've got older. Some on purpose, some not maybe. But one of the experiences I used to have, I used to go out of body quite often, very often in fact. And nearly every time I used to go out of body, and I used to be pleased when this didn't used to happen, but nearly every time I used to go out of body, there used to be these, I'd call them aliens, but they were not in body, they were like out of body aliens, and they would appear as white, very white, glowing beings that would appear in my hallway. Normally there were a number of them, more than one, I'd estimate about 5. I'm sure there were some younger ones in there, like 1 or 2 younger ones. And they were just like tall, thin, not massively huge heads, but kind of elongated, and just glowing beings. And they would seem to always be there when I went out of body, as though they knew it was happening.
Elementals. That's what the South Americans call them.
Oh, go on. I've not heard about this.
The shadow people, certain alien groups, they throw them all into the same category. You know, Mexicans, South Americans, they call them elementals. But we're being joined by the hijacker. Hijacker, how you doing, sir?
Okay, let me turn my volume down for a minute.
You do that, man.
And hijacker, you've got to get a new mic, mate. If you're coming on the radio, you've got to get a better mic. You always sound so dreadful, but not me.
I can't use the mic off the laptop, man. That fan just rules.
Yeah, get your headset.
You got to clarify something for me before we go further. You stated, correct me if I'm wrong, but you stated that you had telepathic abilities that you could turn off.
No, psychic abilities.
Okay, even better, psychic abilities. Will you please explain that? Because that just sounds so...
So what?
Interesting.
Okay.
I mean, it's not. Nobody asked the question. When someone says, "Hey, I have psychic abilities that I can turn on and off," and you just run past it, it's like, "Whoa, wait a minute."
Well, when I say turn off, I mean over time, gradually de-emphasize or not amplify is probably what is a better way of putting it.
All right, Jacker, what do you got, man? You got questions about the Grays with Owlb4UFO?
No, I got something breaking.
Break it.
Yeah.
Break it.
The largest oil refinery in Europe and Asia.
I broke it.
That's old news, mate.
That's not old news.
Yeah, it's old news. We've done that. We've been there, done that.
Yeah, it's already done.
How long ago?
Oh, well, ages ago.
Years ago, dude.
Yeah, mate.
24 hours here.
Old news. You got to get with the times, hijacker.
You weren't listening to the show. I broke that about 15 minutes. Pones actually gave me the link, so Sir Pony out there.
Oh, how long ago? How long ago?
About 15 minutes or so. You're not too far behind.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. But I mean, so...
like a deer in the headlights.
In the headlights, yep, absolutely. Bam.
Come on, guys. We love the Jacker.
Oh, come on. Hijacker's fantastic. I love Hijacker. Can you please elaborate and go on to the information that you've actually received in America, please?
Yeah, but have you all broken down what it means?
No, that's what I wanted to get into, Jacker. It's like, what does that mean? Because it's interesting. The Olympics just went down. Now all of a sudden you've got these protests. Russia storms into Ukraine. America says they violated international law, which is interesting after we went to Iraq. But anyways, whatever. So what does this mean? What's happening? Like, what's going to go down? Because it's no coincidence that just right after the Olympics, Russia goes to Ukraine. I mean, come on.
The first thing out of the gate, since it is such a huge fire, this is not a false flag. I thought the Russians might blow up their own pipeline and justify going into Ukraine, deeper. But what this means is somebody set off a big bomb, and the Russians know it. This was a big play. Also today, at the border checkpoint, where the Russians were in the Crimea, 4.5 tons of high-grade explosives, talking like C4. I mean, they were going to ship that stuff in there and car bomb away, start blowing things up, start doing what they've been doing everywhere in Libya, Syria. But they got 4.5 tons. So for them to blow this up, and it's a big oil refinery. I don't see the Russians doing this. There's going to be
a false flag, Jacker?
No. What the hell?
Just to get stuff rolling? You know they all work together in the background.
Yeah, this is like, it's like stealing another mob guy's stuff, though. Yeah, they kind of work together. All the mobsters work together, but, you know, certain people got territories and...
What's the biggest commodity in the world? It's food, right? And water. Clean water and food. I think that's what is about to be outdated and going to be very, very sparse. And that's what all the warfare is, to thin out the population because of famine that is coming. It's already here, actually. I mean, for years I've been watching agriculture fall, you know, not only by man, but by, you know, the climate change that's happening and chemtrails and all that good stuff and water cutoffs in California and it's all about food. I mean, that's what we need to live. I mean, if they could put a price on oxygen, which they're trying with carbon taxes, they would. But at the time being, it's food and water, and our food supply has been busted up big time just by the changes that we're experiencing in this time we're in. So I think it's all about famine.
Of course, and this is the reason why they're burning out our paddocks and this and that down under. And also, we've got a big coal fire, which is really, really rampant, at our power station. Wahoo! And it's almost getting deep enough to go for 100 years if they don't get it under control. And the government ain't doing jack.
It's like everybody's lost their honor in their jobs. You know, they don't do their work like they used to. I'm honorable.
There's no handshake anymore. There's no handshake anymore.
I'm above and beyond when I work, you know, when I do a job. And people aren't like that anymore. They're just the shortest shortcut they can take, they do. And, you know, they'll screw anybody around them to do so. And it's pretty screwed up. I don't like that. But we've been joined by Jer Bear. Jerry, how you doing, brother? Jer. Check 1, 2, Jer Bear. All right, your mic. Check it out, man. We're not hearing you.
Hey, like I was referring to, there is no handshake anymore. You know, no handshake agreements. And once upon a time, America and Australia grew up with handshake agreement. But then...
It's a spit in your hand first, even, and shake.
Exactly, yeah. Or cut your hand open and blood out. Yeah, back in real days. But yeah, then AIDS come into it. Yeah, well, that's sort of a different idealism and a different way to go. But a handshake was your bloody bond. And if you didn't bloody worship it, you got bloody shot. So...
Right, it's called honor. There was honor back in the day. Today, there's no honor. It's all about the shortcut, screwing over whoever you can to come up for one day, even though tomorrow's never promised. Jerry, how you doing, brother?
Fine. I was just trying to pass the links on about the oil refinery. A-Man posted that about 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So I gave you guys the link in the Skype chat, and I just gave it again to the
Thanks for that,
chat room. I just called in to make sure everything's cool, and I'm muting.
All right, back to Jack.
Hey, R3ctify.
Yo.
Hi, can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about honor, and that the honor is gone. I don't believe that. I don't believe the honor is gone. I don't believe the honor is gone.
Oh, man, the younger generations, I see it every day.
Sweetheart, you're the younger generation. Hello.
I have older generations that are surprised by me and my honor. They're surprised that I still have it.
And I am honored that you do, too. Okay? But this is one of the things that, you can only get the perspective as you age. Okay, so younger is only younger as we are, if you will. Okay?
No, they're being taught to not know honor. I mean, it's all indoctrination camps we call the schooling systems.
All right, I agree with that, but that's not where we are right now. That's not where we're going to go. We're on a different subject. We're talking about,
Grays. The GrayZone.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's paper these days. If you don't sign your name to it, you don't bloody own it, and if you do, possibly it can get taken away because you did sign your name to it. Ahoo!
So what do we do, Ozzy Paul? What do we do? Do we just give up?
No, you don't consent.
No, please, my turn. We actually try and make the world understand the reasons why we're here for, right? To live and let live and love thy neighbour and also put up with bloody what religion they are.
Right.
It doesn't matter whose religion is who. Exactly. Acceptance is the word.
When you're talking about abductions.
Well, abductions...
We're on a different subject now. It is a roundtable.
That could be an exception too. Hey, sometimes some aliens would like to come out, and that's acceptance. Until we accept each other, how the hell would a UFO bound person come down and show himself out without getting killed, raped, disassembled, or eaten? Who knows?
I think if you're looking at the nature of human evolution, you have to understand that human evolution can and does only really take place or is allowed to flourish in an environment of freedom where the person is able to tap into their abilities, answer their callings, and do what they need to do to become a better and more fulfilled or expansive individual. Now, at the moment, I think what we're experiencing is a suppression of all those aspects. Because of firstly, we're still kind of working on the survival program, which is, most people live from paycheck to paycheck and struggle to survive. Now, we really, in 2014, we should be beyond struggling to survive, and yet still many, many around the world are struggling to survive and worry about surviving. So that's one aspect of things. The other aspects of things, there is a resistance to change. The reason there's a resistance to change is because the people that are getting all the money and getting all the power are quite happy with that situation, and so they've clamped down, and change is very difficult. And you'll notice the avenues of change that are available.
I need change, like Obama does, and I need to plug myself so I can get some change, because I'm poor. I'm really poor right now, and I do this for free. FreedomSlips.com needs your change, but I need your change too. The number one, PriceIT.com. OnePriceIT.com. All remote into your computer, clean it up, make it run better than it was off the shelf when you bought it. That's OnePriceIT.com. And that's a shameless plug. Another shameless plug is our YouTube. We archive everything.
Plug, please?
Hold on.
Revolution Radio.
Paul, wait on, Paul.
If you go into the archives, it costs $3.
Oh, mate, if you're going to interrupt, we'll pay you up.
One shameless plug for our YouTube. Most roundtables are not archived, but the GrayZone does archive our roundtables. You can find us at YouTube at TheGrayZone Roundtable. The GrayZone Radio. That's with an A. Gray with an A. The GrayZone Radio. That's at YouTube. And you can catch all of our roundtables that we do here. And I also throw up random science and do-it-yourself projects, videos, and stuff like that.
So yes, as I was saying, the avenues of change are being shut down. Systematically shut down, so that there are fewer and fewer avenues of change, and even more so, fewer and fewer ways of voicing discontent, and those freedoms are being slowly inhibited as well. So, the question is, it seems as though it's a real skill nowadays to identify what few opportunities there are to explore with regards to initiated drastic change within society that needs to happen. In other words, a complete renaissance of the way we live and the way we think to some extent, and the way we do things. And that is a skill in itself, and not many people are kind of, have mastered that necessarily, and that's why we're still working it out, and that's why I think to some extent we go round and round on the round table, or round tables, or generally speaking, about trying to work out what to do. And because we can't agree on one thing to do, which would be nice, forget all the 101 things that might be out there, and there aren't 101 things. It's actually literally very few avenues when you come down to the nuts and bolts of it, of initiating drastic change. Because there's not much weakness. This has been done on purpose. There's not many opportunities to initiate the things that need to be done. And so, really, we just need to agree on one thing and just unify on that one thing and then do it. But that in itself, for some reason, we can't do that.
Rock on is the 2 words that we need to stick by.
Yeah. And that's the way things work. If you look at nature, nature works like that. It's the unification that gets things done. It's the collective effort that gets things done. And we have the internet, and you would have thought by now, we've got the internet, an instant way of communicating with everyone. But if someone says to you nowadays, oh, look, this is brilliant site, go to it, even that's not enough anymore. So it's like, that's the tough part. And that's what I was saying about, there's no experts out there. Well, there are,
We got less than a minute, Wingman.
Oh gosh, we've got another break coming up. It seems we missed a break this time.
Break? I don't know. We going overtime? We normally do. I don't know. It's consensus. I gotta ask. I gotta be democratic.
Let's check the schedule real quick for you, brother. Bernardo.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message. Guess what, man? You got the Nighthawk here, man, and I'm telling you news, information, and entertainment. And everything that is so awesome about Revolution Radio is right here for the taking. But, Revolution Radio's hosts keep it hopping and rocking year-round, 24/7. And I bet you have a favorite host, or maybe you got many favorite hosts, right? And I'm also betting you didn't catch every show. So now you can order the Season 2013 podcast disc. It's all of your favorite host shows of each show, depending on who the host is, from 2013. For now, $30 per host, which means that you get the podcast of every broadcast in 2013 that your favorite host did, starting in February, actually, this year. And not only do you help fund the station by picking these up, but you help fund your favorite host's work, because I split the proceeds of the sale with the host, less the shipping, of course. So this is just $30, and you get a data DVD that has every podcast for the entire year. Whose podcast are you earning? Well, all you have to do is visit freedomslips.com/season2013.htm. There's a little box. You type in your favorite host name and click pay. And when you're done, you will receive your podcast disc in 7 to 21 days, depending on the demand. Hey, man, I'm just one guy, right? Anyway, and as an added bonus, man, if you order more than 5 hosts season DVDs, I'm going to give you a free 1-year access to our daily archives. So, man, don't miss out. It's all here. It's all here. You can help us. You can help the station, help fund the station, and the host get half of it, which means you get to help fund your favorite host. I mean, how can it be better? There's no other station out here that does that. So thank you very much. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, man. You're listening to the Nighthawk, and I'm telling you what, man, this is where information never, ever sleeps, including me. Revolution Radio. Revolution Radio.
You don't see it, do you? How close we are to absolute chaos? The sick ones are sitting on their fat asses, eating and drink themselves into a stupor, polluting the world without a second thought while it goes down the toilet. Nobody wants to do the nasty work. You know, the shit that we all just think about. Most good citizens are just along for the ride and then bitch and moan and complain about everything when it doesn't work out. Not me. Get it done.
Revolution Radio, where we do the nasty work. www.freedomslips.com.
Re-verify our range to target.
This incredible race of humans does have a future, and it is in the start.
I want the truth.
We are going out there to reclaim our rightful place.
Hi, this is Robert Pepino, host of the Whole Agenda radio show.
Who's your connection?
Starting this Friday at midnight Eastern Time, I'll set the airwaves on fire by bringing you hard-hitting guests who are not afraid to speak the truth.
I'm going to make them an offer, Cameron.
So join the Whole Agenda radio show on Friday nights right here on Revolution Radio.
Hi, this is Bo.
And this is Rocco.
And the Bo and Rocco Show is here to offer insight into legal and lawful remedies. Our goal is to remain free and help others remain free in an ever-increasing police-like state. With the help of our guests, we try to answer questions such as what went wrong and what can we do about it.
So tune into Revolution Radio at www.freedomslips.com Wednesday nights, 10 to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to listen to the Bo and Rocco Show.
You don't need to expect us.
We're already here.
Revolution Radio.
Hey, Truther Junkies, it's me, Angela Black, and I'm back. Join me every weekday except for Wednesdays from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern, Studio B on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com for my news show, At This Moment 2014. See you there.
Revolution Radio. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Be me, Wild Bill Samsel, your host of the Samsel Report. Join me for Wild Bill's Headline Roundup every Saturday night right here on Revolution Radio.
Wadiya will remain a dictatorship. Oh, be quiet. Why are you guys so anti-dictators? Imagine if America was a dictatorship. You could let 1% of the people have all the nation's wealth. You could help your rich friends get richer by cutting their taxes.
and bailing them out when they gamble and lose. You could ignore the needs of the poor for healthcare and education. Your media would appear free, but would secretly be controlled by one person and his family. You could wiretap phones. You could torture foreign prisoners. You could have rigged elections. You could lie about why you go to war. You could fill your prisons with one particular racial group, and no one would complain. You could use the media to scare the people into supporting policies that are against their interests.
Tune in Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, for Liberation Nation with Deacon John, where America comes to hear the truth.
I know this is hard for you Americans to imagine, but please try.
Enjoy your extra big-ass fries.
You didn't give me no fries. I got an empty box.
Would you like an